Welcome to the Vernon Hills Update. The update offers information about a variety of village services. You'll meet a few of your neighbors and you'll find out about upcoming events. On today's show, we'll make one last trip to the Laschen Community Center, where we talk about the history of this important location and its future as neighborhood green space. We'll check in with the Vernon Hills Police Department for some important reminders to keep you and your money safe from scam artists who pretend to represent the IRS or other official organizations. And we'll stop by the Vernon Hills Park District to talk about summer camps, special events, and fun features of the Family Aquatic Center. Thank you for tuning in to the Vernon Hills Update.
Well, here we are on a wintry day at the Laschen Community Center. I'm with Dave Brown, who's our village engineer, village public works director. And we're here to talk kind of like, I guess you'd call it an end of an era, a new chapter. You've got some work that's going to be going on here, starting now when we're talking here in February and through March.
Yeah, absolutely. We're sad to see the old village hall, the old country club come to the end. But its days are numbered. We will be demolishing the Larry Laschen Center. It's no longer needed, and it's really expensive to maintain. So really, in terms of trying to find a reuse, that's just not in the cards.
And this is something that's been talked about for quite a while in the permutations and the reliving of this building as it's changed over a few times. But let's talk a little bit for the neighbors and everybody in town. The schedule is you're going to be hard at work. I mean, today we see Holian, I don't know how to say their word, but they're in doing a little bit of remediation, mitigation work right now to get ready for demolition.
Yeah, so Mike Atkinson, our acting community development director, building commissioner, and myself have been working on this project. First, we wanted to know what a potential reuse of the site would be, and so there was a community meeting and some good discussions of what it could be. Ultimately, the discussions with the board is we're going to demolish the building, and then we're going to regrade it, level off a flat plateau towards the top, and then grade it back more towards the roadways. So that's our current plan. But in terms of the schedule, you're right. We have a contractor who's helping us with removal of some of the materials. Really, in terms of the investigation, it's really asbestos that they're dealing with. So we wanted to have that clean bill of health, and we are out for bids right now for a demo contractor. So on Friday we'll open up bids, and then we look to award a contract on March 5th for its actual demolition. So we anticipate that it'll probably take a week or so to get through the paperwork after that and make sure we have that all ready to go. And then they'll start demolishing the building. So we would anticipate from like mid-March for about 30 days it's going to take to ultimately remove this building. And then they'll backfill it, they'll put topsoil, they'll put grass down, and then we'll grow that in. So in terms of the timing of getting the lawn to grow in, that's a really good schedule. It'll be spring by then. We won't be standing in the snow.
We hope we won't be standing in the snow. So all this kind of hinges on those bids coming in where you expect them to be in for approval on March 5th. Now those things can always adjust, so we'll have to keep ourselves abreast of all this. We can watch the village meetings, we can do all those things. And when we talked about asbestos, there really wasn't much in there, but it's in an abundance of caution. You've got people going through for that. It's kind of a typical thing for buildings of this age, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. This vintage of a building usually has some sort of asbestos. It was a really popular product back in that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at, and it felt when you talked to me about we want to move ahead quickly on this. It felt kind of counterintuitive to be doing this demo work in the winter, which it seems so hard. But you feel it's better for the neighbors.
Yeah, we think it's very important when people have their windows closed. There's less people walking around, so we've really pushed to try to have this accomplished in the time frame that I presented. We actually would have loved to have it done 30 days earlier, but with the bidding requirements and the step of, we really wanted to make sure that things were cleaned before we had a demo contractor in, so that required another contract and a couple extra weeks, so we're a little bit further behind of what I would hope for, but we're still on schedule.
And we talked to, you said, it's going to be kind of this green space that's going to grass in. And at some point there were talks about, more elaborate, not active parks, but passive parks where people could be. So those things would be down the road.
Yeah, I think it was really important that we have a community meeting. We had really good attendance. We received a lot of good feedback. Because of that feedback, we're in conversations with the Park District of not just what this site could be, but more importantly, we're looking at the tennis courts and we're looking at the flat space next to it in terms of would that serve for a smaller playground area for younger kids? A couple of the parents showed up with strollers and they were talking about how difficult it was for them to go all the way to the south end of the golf course to go to that kids park. So those are discussions we're having between the Park District and the village.
Those are all good things. So those are the things that are happening right now. You're going to see it happening quickly. Information will be online. You can watch the board meeting and keep abreast of it. Call Public Works, talk to Mike Atkinson, and everybody can stay up to date on this particular schedule. But let's back up a little, just because we got the chance here, to talk about what this building was, because it has been repurposed so many times. And when you think about that, it's kind of amazing it's still going, because this neighborhood, in this area, it was one of the first neighborhoods. Barney Loeb and Quinn Hogan built this, and they named it Vernon Hills. They're the people that named it Vernon Hills after the hill they put on the golf course. It's a little bit of a stretch, but those guys were the ones that built it, and this was the clubhouse for a much bigger golf course. I can't even remember, was it maybe even 36 holes? I mean, it was certainly bigger than the 9 we got now.
Sure. Actually, I've had recent contact with the Loeb family, and just a great conversation. It was just interesting listening to the history. But yeah, this was an area that people from Chicago would come out, and back in the day, this was a very long drive and a foreign land. But yeah, it is interesting. It served its purpose. 25 years ago, I helped with having the swimming pool removed, which is in between this building and the existing village hall. So the Park District was a tenant of ours, and they used it for a number of years. But ultimately, the cost of maintaining old buildings is a struggle. They decided to move their facilities, and so now we no longer have tenants in terms of reuse. As I said, it's just not financially feasible to do that. But I also want to recognize Larry Laschen, who this was named after. So Larry Laschen was our police chief, served in that capacity for a while. And then he became our village manager, and I'm so pleased I had a chance to work for that man. He had such a vision for Vernon Hills. I remember him rolling out a map and showing me where he wanted the boundaries of Vernon Hills to be. And he did a great job on annexing different properties, working with owners and developers to achieve that goal. I remember him showing the map that he wanted to go all the way south to Apatisic Road. We didn't get there. Maybe we shouldn't, but he had a great vision, and just proud to have known him. Well, he's still alive, so I still am proud to know him.
Yeah, a wonderful man, and that was the boom years too. That was when you went from 3,000 people in town to it grew quickly to the 30,000. I mean, he had a lot of moving parts. Trustees back then had a lot of moving parts to deal with, and totally did a great job.
Yeah, the land surrounding us, the Hawthorne Club subdivision, that was started approximately 30 years ago, and he played a role in that. Stone Fence Farm, Centennial Crossing, Greg's Landing in terms of annexing that property. discussions when the Village of Libertyville or Mundelein may not have been interested in the mall, and we're so glad that Larry Laschen and the board at that time were very interested in that and listened to them, and they were able to strike up some really good deals that made Vernon Hills Vernon Hills.
Well, when we talk about good deals, it was, I believe it was in 1980 that the village bought the golf course land. That they got this clubhouse at the time, which became Village Hall, and the tennis court and the pool and all the golf course land, which was more than the 9 holes, and they got it for like $450,000. I mean, if you could have that time back and knew that what you knew then, that was a great deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just again, really proud of Larry Laschen and everything he's accomplished for our village.
Yeah, so just the building will be gone, but Larry lives on in infamy all the time for all the things he did here. So, well, thank you for taking the time to explain this project to us. And as I said before, people can contact Village Hall or Public Works and talk more about it all the time, because you've been talking with the neighbors from the get-go. You've been fielding information and having conversations.
Yeah, a number of them who were not able to attend the meeting have reached out personally to us. If people have more questions, by all means, reach out to myself, David Brown, or to Mike Atkinson. We'd be glad to communicate further, and we're going to update our website to make sure there's good information on there also.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time. And again, a chapter closes and a new green space appears. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we are over at the Vernon Hills Police Department with Kim Christensen. We're in the booking room with the cells. Did I get the right word for that?
You got it. It's the booking room, right?
And unfortunately, what we're going to talk about is you never get to book people in on their crimes, because we've got some crimes that people rarely get caught for them, but our own residents, they get on the hook for a lot of money out, unfortunately.
That's true. Occasionally we are fortunate enough, our officers might be fortunate enough to make an arrest for some of these things, but for the most part, no. It's IRS time. It's tax time, which means it's IRS scam time, which is 12 months a year, but it's a little more prevalent and people are a little more aware of it now during tax time.
And what happens too is when you get a conversation or you get a phone call that looks like it's from the IRS, I think our blood pressure always goes up, so it's hard to think logically about these things. But the IRS is never going to call you, and even if it says it's the IRS, it's probably not the IRS.
It's very understandable to be concerned, and people hear about these tax things, these IRS scam calls that they receive, and it's typical to panic and have like, oh no, what did I do? Don't be intimidated. If the caller ID says it's the IRS or it's the police, don't believe it. The caller ID can be spoofed. The important thing to remember is when you get to pick up the phone, whether it's a recorded message or an actual voice, and somebody starts telling you about taxes that are due or IRS, just hang up. Do not be intimidated. Hang up. If they leave a message, do not call them back.
Okay, because we understand from the IRS, if the IRS really wants to get a hold of you, they start with letters and things like that first.
Yes, they do.
And they're not going, and they certainly aren't going to call and say, you owe money today or we're going to have you arrested. That never happens.
No, that won't happen. And some of the hooks they'll use, whether they're going to, we're going to file a lawsuit against you. We're going to go to the police, have you arrested. We're going to have you deported, depending on the situation. Just all these threats. Don't worry about it. Hang up. And what we want people to do, if you encounter one of those things and you are concerned and you are hitting the panic mode, you pick up the phone after you hang up with them or after you get the message. If you're concerned, you pick up the phone and call 911, and we'll send an officer over to talk to you and explain it to you and make you feel better.
Yeah. Because that is the truth. There's always, with these scammers, there's such an urgency, and they want everything done in 2 minutes, and you don't have time to call. Sometimes they don't even let you hang up the phone. They want you to stay there, so you can't even call somebody.
You're absolutely right. If they think they've got you on the hook, they don't want you hanging up, because if you hang up, you're going to have time to think about it. Maybe you're going to have time to talk to somebody else. Maybe that other person you're going to talk to is going to put some sense into you. They don't want that, so they're going to keep you on the phone as long as they have to. I've heard of cases where they will actually keep a caller on the phone keep a possible target on the phone while that person goes and buys the prepaid green cards or whatever. All while that person is driving to the store to get them, they'll leave them on the cell phone talking because they do not want that person to get away. If they think they got one on the hook, they don't want them to get away.
And they don't want you to think, they don't want you to have time to think. And that's another thing. Not only will like IRS or any of these organizations call and threaten you, they will never ask you for something weird like a prepaid Walmart gift card or something like that. That's just iTunes
card,
nothing like that.
They're not going to ask you for your charge card number over the phone or anything like that. No. And it's important to know that for the most part, this is individuals, citizens, residents that are victimized by this. And it can happen to businesses as well. We've seen that, but for the most part, it's just Mr. and Mrs. Resident.
Well, and another good one, as far as businesses, they'll call and say, you've got something wrong with your computer, send us $250 and we'll fix it. That's a good business one. Don't do that, don't do that.
No.
Well, and we've talked about, there's a lot of eBay type scams too. If you're trying to sell something, and that's a good one where you get like a kind of a windfall. You're like, this is too good to be true. They sent me too much money.
An internet scam, a Craigslist scam, or OfferUp, or whatever the case may be. If you're selling something and someone gives you considerably more money than you're asking for by means of a check, well, they're going to ask for the difference back in cash. We've had situations in town where people have been selling stuff on the internet, and a person will say, I'll buy it, but I'm going to give you X amount. In some cases, over $1,000 more than you're asking for it, and they'll say, well, send me the difference back, and write a check and send me the difference back. Or the person is going to pick it up, give them the difference. And it's not going to happen, because you're going to do that, and by the time it's too late, you're going to find out that that check they gave you is worthless. And if they say they're going to pick something up, and you say, well, they really want it. No, the rules are probably going to change. If you agree to it, they're going to come back and say, I'll just send it to me, it'd be easier. So no.
If something sounds too good, it's.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Yeah. So, and again, like the most important thing you said is, call us, call 911. We'll come and investigate it for you and make sure you aren't, in violation with the IRS.
We'll be happy to talk to you. We didn't make a report. In fact, we did make a report from a resident who was selling something on the internet, and she received this beautiful envelope, which is a U.S. postal envelope, U.S. Post Office. The only thing in the envelope was a check. That's it. No letter, just a check for a lot more money than she was selling the item for. And the person wanted the refund back, so wanted the difference back. So these things happen. You think, well, it came in the mail, it must be legitimate. Yeah. No, everybody has access to the mail, so don't fall for it, please.
Yeah, these people are good too, so don't feel bad if you panic or you do something, because these people make good money scamming smart people.
Oh, absolutely. So they're good at their jobs. They're good at their jobs. So please don't be intimidated. We want you to pick up the phone and call 911 and talk to. If you have no one else you could talk to, please talk to your friends, talk to your relatives before you make a decision. If you have no one to talk to at that minute and you really, really need to talk to somebody, we want you to call 911. I can't stress it enough.
And there's information online. You can look on the village website. The VHPD website has stuff about some of these common scams. They're all really good. These nasty people are good at this. They're dirty tricks. Don't feel bad about it, but just be educated so you're aware. So if this does happen to you, you can say, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Kim told me. So
be prepared. Be prepared. It can happen. People hear about these IRS scams, and they hear about these phone calls that other people receive, and you're told, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Hang up. And then it happens to you for the first time, and then you're like, oh my gosh. I got one myself coming into work not too long ago on my cell phone in my car when I'm driving. It was a recording from some woman who claimed she was an agent with the FBI or IRS or something like that. Wanted me to, like, really? Okay. No. Of course, I just delete, ignore, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Ignore. Because if something is really serious, they'll find a way to communicate with you in the right way. Well, that's the information for today.
That's it.
Ignore it. So that's the key.
Don't be intimidated. Ignore it. Call if you have any questions, and if you need to talk to somebody, you know how to do it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. My pleasure.
We are at the Vernon Hills Park District Sullivan Center, and we're thinking spring. In fact, we're going to think summer too. We kind of need that right about now. And by the time you're watching this in March, you should have your spring and summer brochure in hand, and it's online, so you can find out about a lot of programs going on here, whether it's at the Aquatic Center or special events, or right now we're going to talk about summer camp with our summer camp experts, Gail Herman and Anna Swain. Thanks for taking the time to join us. Isn't it nice we can finally talk about summer camps? It's been a long winter.
It sure has been a long winter, and we're looking forward to it.
And I know one of the things you always say is the key thing about Vernon Hills Park District summer camps is get your act together and sign up early, because that helps everybody. It helps you get what you need, and it helps you guys, it helps people, staff, and it helps you get the schedule you need.
A lot of planning goes into summer camp, so it makes it easier for all of us.
When we talk about summer camps too, we talked before we started rolling the camera, it's really, there's a lot of flexibility. You don't have to take a whole summer's worth of camp. You can go week by week.
Right, you can just register for, there's 8 weeks in summer camp. We offer weekly registrations for summer camps.
Okay, so you can pick what you and your family need. And on top of it, some of the camps, they have different start and daytime schedules. So you don't have to, you can plan what your family needs and kind of fit that.
Right, it's about as individualized as we can make it, I think. Yeah.
And when we talk about ages, I always think about the kids that are out there running around, playing softball and playing in the pool. But you've got something for every interest and every age. How young does it start?
3 by the first day of camp.
Okay, 3 years old. So you've got something for kids that young. And it goes
3
up to
mornings
older.
a week. 3 mornings a week, so, yeah.
And then you've also got stuff for as kids get older. I heard there's something even called a Hamilton is My Jam theater camp coming this summer.
Yep, correct. That is for ages 2nd grade, I think, through 6th grade.
Okay, so a little bit older kids, but a pretty good range there. And when we talk about other things, can you, off the top of your head, in the past you've had robotics and everything else? Anything coming up like that?
I pretty much have the same camps every year, but Anna, you have a few more different ones.
What kind of things? What are some of the interesting ones you can think of besides your typical which you love? You love to get the kids outside. You love to get them playing. Sometimes you even have field trips. I heard.
Right. We have I have an action camp, which is more sports related. Then we have a road trip camp, and then I have a camp that's called Helping Hands, and the kids go out and volunteer, do service projects. We also go on field trips, so that's a real cool camp. So we go to Feed My Starving Children. We've worked for Linus Projects. We've baked cookies for seniors, so it's a fun camp.
So that's a camp that really does have. What was that one called? Helping Hands.
It's called Helping Hands Camp. Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting because I know a lot of you want your kids involved, and what a great way to get involved. Mm-hmm. Well, the whole list of camps you can find it on the website, and I think we should point out too, you always have a resident and a non-resident, right? Resident is for people living in the zip code of Vernon Hills because this is a taxpayer-funded, Park District is a public entity. But if you've got kids at Hawthorne, even if you're kind of across the zip code border, you can get the resident right there.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Okay. So if somebody needs some help, they can go to the book, but you guys are here to talk them through it. Can people send you an email? Or?
Email us, call the front desk. They're wonderful about answering questions also.
And so as you said, you can go week by week for most of the stuff and come up with a summer plan. Think about that. We got to be thinking about our summer plans.
We do. They're good plans.
It's fun to plan for summer right now. So it's time for that right now. And I also want to say, ladies, you guys are a great team and you've been working together. But I do want to say our formal thank you to Gail for having to talk with us all this time because you don't enjoy this one bit, do you?
No, it's not my thing.
And Gail is retiring, so I know that when we said it's our last time to talk about summer camps, we do want to wish you the best because you have done so much with so many kids. Everybody in town knows you, Miss Gail.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Well, thank you, and thank you all. And remember, get ready for summer. Get your order in quick. Ask your questions and get your plan together. And have a great summer. Well, we continue our spring and summer talk, because that's what we need right now. We're with Jack Shear. He's a rec supervisor over at the Vernon Hills Park District. You're our special events man, and so we've got a lot of special events coming up. Now, by the time people watch this, we may be already past the 6th annual craft beer event, but it is the 6th annual, so that means it's going pretty good.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of vendors back this year, about 17 tables with about 50 different beers, so it's growing.
Well, and I know that's one of those things, you try to do some adult flavored things, like, for instance, Rib Fest coming up in August. Will Rib Fest come back?
August 16th and 17th, yep, same place, Century Park.
Yeah, and that you can have adult beverages and barbecue and music. It's great.
That's right, yeah, we have the beer tent and the bourbon tent will be back as well.
You know, that bourbon tent was kind of sweet.
Yeah,
so
it was a
that's,
hit.
Yeah, that was a hit,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
it
Not just
was.
with me, right?
You're right, it was good.
So that's kind of the adult things. But we got so many things coming up. You've got a new mother-son event coming up in March. Can you explain to people what that is?
Yeah, so on March 22nd, we have this new event. It's called You're My Superhero. It's for mothers and sons, not just mothers, really any female role model that you have in your life if you want to bring. And we're encouraging the boys to dress up as their favorite superhero. We're going to have a DJ, some fun games, and ice cream for them.
Awesome, that's here. And that's something you can go online and register for.
Yep.
Well, and that kind of is that bookend, too. I know you just, not that long ago, had the father figure, daddy-daughter type dance.
Right.
That's always a big one.
Right. We that's always such a big hit, and it sells out. And so some of the moms in the community said, what about us and our sons? So we cater to the community,
Nice. Way to go there. So, well, and also coming up, as we come into hopefully warmer times, the Hoppin' Holiday Hunt, Saturday, April 20th over here. That's a big deal, too. And hopefully it's nice weather.
Yeah. Rain or shine, we do the hunt. If we have to do it inside, we will. But we have a continental breakfast for the kids and the families, and it's always a good time.
Again, go online to sign up or learn more. And then, there's something ahead of that, though. You've got a dragon egg hunt?
Yeah, so that's new this year as well. The night before Hoppin' Holiday Hunt, so April 19th, we're going to do it out at Kids Castle Playground in Deer Path Park. And kids 9 to 12, it's for that older age group. 9 to 12, they'll be able to go on with, it'll be right at dusk, so bring your flashlight. And it'll be an egg hunt on the playground for the older kids.
That's cool. And if you haven't seen that playground it was always cool, and it's cool now.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I know. It's like I can't quite fit through most of those places anymore, but it's still fun. So that's a dragon egg hunt. That's cool. Well, and then a big thing you got coming up, April 27th, Loop the Lakes 5K. That's like a tradition around here. People, it kind of like that kicks off the running season or the stroller walking season or whatever season you got.
Right, yeah. Loop the Lakes, it goes around our beautiful Century Park through the two lakes. So that's coming back again this year. And then later that day, we'll have the kite fly on the island.
So there's a lot of stuff coming out and more stuff coming all the time. You got to kind of watch the website because you guys come up with plans and things all the time. Yeah. One of the things you're coming up with, and this is going to be pretty cool, a farmer's market and kind of a new location, a new time. So you guys are just starting to put that together. Can you tell us a little more?
Yeah, so the new farmer's market will be located in Century Park on the south end. Kind of by where Rib Fest takes place, but that's going to be starting in June, and we'll go through the end of August on Thursdays from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We're going to be a traditional market, so we'll have produce, fruits, vegetables, farmers selling their stuff, and then a couple other things here and there, such as flowers, if we can get some in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody wanted to be a vendor or you had an idea, can we talk to you and see if we might, be part of that?
Yeah, definitely. Contact me or Marissa Moravik. We have an email that you can email farmersmarket@vhparkdistrict.org if you're interested, and we'll get back to you.
Okay, so that's expected to start in June on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. I always call it the OPA parking lot because
Yeah.
I'm really old, but that new area over there where the park district's been working actually all through fall and winter, so it'll look different by then.
Yeah, there's renovation going on right now on that site, so that should be finished up early spring, and we'll all be set. We'll be set to go for the summer. Yeah.
We're hoping so. Spring will come. Well, it'll be good. So, well, I know we can hardly even touch the surface just because you've got so many things and so many things beyond spring and summer. So if people want to find out more, it's on the website. You're around all over town too. People can ask you questions.
Yeah.
So you're available by email, and if people got ideas, like you just said, you came up with a program just because people ask for it. So that's the kind of thing you like to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you want, and we always try to make it happen.
Excellent. Thank you, and happy spring. It will be here soon. Thanks,
Yes,
Jack.
we will. Thanks, Lynn.
Well, we're still at the Sullivan Center, and we're still talking spring and summer. And the only reason we're inside with Robert Wood, who's our aquatic supervisor over here, is because there's like 8 feet of snow out there in the pool.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of snow out there right now. It's too chilly for all that.
It's too chilly for us out there, but I know you're already making big plans for summer.
Yep.
And when it comes to our aquatic center, if you're not familiar with it, it is a gem. It's not just a pool. Can you explain to people some of the features that are over there, the slides and stuff?
So we have just a general main lap and leisure pool. It's about 6 lanes, and then it leads into our zero depth area. Then we actually have a smaller pool, which we like to call our kiddie pool. And then if you actually end up going to the back of our facility, we have 3 slides. We have a tube slide, we have an enclosed body slide, and then we also have an open body slide. And then you actually have our lazy river that we have in the back of the facility as well. So we actually have more than just a pool. We have, we like to say, a water park.
It's a water park, and there's other, if you're not a water type and you're just there to watch the kids, there's places to sun, and there's sand,
Yep.
and there's snacks.
Yeah, I was going to say we have our Bobo's concession stand over there. We do have our sand play area. We're actually getting new features in there, so that's something that's getting updated this summer. And then there's actually plenty of deck space for parents that actually want to just kind of lay out and get some sun too. So.
It's a nice place to hang around. Now, you can buy season passes, and if you're a season pass kind of person, you can have a discount if you buy early.
Yeah, so if you buy your season pass before April 30th, you actually do get I believe, a 10% discount, if I'm not mistaken. Anything after that, then it just goes up 10% to our normal price. So, yeah, buy them before April 30th.
Yeah, and if you go a few times, it's a deal, because and there's some people that go every night after work. You can, the pass is nice, because if you just go a little while.
The pass pays for itself, I think, within a couple trips, and then you're good to go. You get pretty much free use out of it the rest of the summer. So.
And that said, too, you can always come up to the window and buy for that day.
Yep. You can also we have daily admissions as well, so you don't have to feel obligated to buy a pass, but you just get more out of it if you do buy a pass. So.
And you don't have to be a Vernon Hills resident to use it. You can bring out-of-town friends. It's just there's different. Vernon Hills residents always get a lower rate.
Correct, yeah. So we do have our resident rate, and then we have our non-resident rate as well. So Vernon Hills, obviously, you do get a little bit of a discount, and then even though you're not a resident, you're still able to come get a season pass at the pool as well. We want to welcome everybody to our facility, so we don't just keep it only to residents.
It's a cool place. If you haven't been there, it's worth the look around.
It really
and
is.
as far as swimming is one thing, but it's a great place for birthday parties, and organizations sometimes have outings and things.
Yep, we do have rentals that you guys are able to do. So we have 2 different type of birthday party packages. We have one that is just pretty much your standard birthday party, and then we have one that it comes with like a little ice cream cake involved as well. So, and then we do offer private rentals as well. People can actually rent the facility Friday through Sunday after hours. So as long as we have 3 weeks in notice in advance, then someone can actually rent either the front of the facility, just the back of the facility, or the whole entire facility itself for at least 2 hours.
Well, that would be like kind of epic. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've had a couple of good rentals in the past. So the staff actually really like guarding those and working those, because the atmosphere is just a little bit more relaxed. They get to have a little bit more fun. So it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, and we talk about staff. You've got great lifeguards, and everybody's fully trained, and you're in charge of that now.
Yeah.
And how are you doing on lifeguards? Is that something, if somebody is still looking to be a guard, that they can go through the ranks and start getting certified?
Oh yeah, definitely. So we are still looking for lifeguards always hiring for lifeguards. The more the merrier, obviously. So if that's something that they're actually interested in, there's classes that they could take through the Red Cross website, or at the beginning of the summer, typically when we hire, we actually teach a class in the beginning for those who are actually interested in working at the park district. So.
Excellent. And you always have special events too. Are you still looking to do the flick and float? Now, explain what flick and float is if you've never seen it.
So the flick and float is we pretty much set up a giant inflatable screen on our pool deck, and then we allow our inflatable tubes that we have in the lazy river into our small leisure pool, and people can literally float and watch a movie at the same exact time. So it's actually kind of leisurely. We've been doing it, I think, the past 3 years, so it's actually been a pretty successful event with, the weather cooperating, obviously. Yeah.
And then at the end of the summer, you always have your summer splash, so that's kind of closes out the pool season.
Yeah, so Summer Splash is an event that's open to all members. We actually used to just have it open only to residents, but we open it up to everybody. It's pretty much the last hurrah that we have for the pool during the summer. So we have a lot of games. We have a penny game for our little kids. We have our duck races, which people can buy ducks, and then they actually win prizes if their ducks come, I think, in the first 16 places. And then just have a DJ. We have dancing. We have inflatables. We have a lot of side games. We have freeze pops going around. So it's a good event for the community in general. And then we're actually looking to add a couple of new things to the event this year. So that'll be, that's still in the works. So that'll be something that'll be exciting. So
It's kind of nice to think about summer right now. And as we talk about when the pool opens, is it Memorial Day week? No, which is the weekend where that's the beginning of the summer?
Memorial Day weekend. So I believe it is May 25th off the top of my head is when the pool actually opens, and that weekend it'll be open from 11 to 7 p.m.
And you've got schedules on the website, so you can see when things are open daily. You can tell how much things cost. You can see if there's a weather, because weather is the key for you guys. And you have, in abundance of caution, you guys shut down when you got to shut down, and it'll be on there.
Yeah, so we do have our weather hotline that's available. People can check it online, or they can actually call the weather hotline phone number. So that way we're always keeping that up to date. I have it on my cell phone where I could just go in there quickly and just update it just in case something does change, whether we're closed for 30 minutes just to lightning or anything like that, or if we're closed to the day just because it's a little bit cooler. So fingers crossed we don't have any of that this summer.
Well, the way the winter went, hopefully we got all the bad weather done.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
and
I'm
hopefully
hoping
the
that's
snow is out of the pool so you can actually open it.
Actually fill it. Yep, that's what we're hoping for right now. So.
Well, that's a lot of good information. Thank you, Robert. And Robert's been around town. He grew up here. He knows this pool inside and out. And you also can help people understand how to further their swimming career and lessons and teams and everything else. You're the guy that knows all about aquatics.
Yep, pretty much. Been working with the park district since 2006, so it's been a while now. But yeah, we do offer swim lessons. We offer swim lessons at Lakeview Fitness, so those are indoors, so no weather is going to interrupt those whatsoever. And then we also do have our park district swim team that goes year-round as well. So we do have a variety of options for those that are looking to learn how to swim or continue their swimming career.
And that swim team does really well,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
they?
It's something that's actually been built up the past couple of years, I will say. So we're actually starting to do a lot more. We're becoming a lot more competitive within the area, especially since we have, I think, 5 other swim teams within like a 15-mile radius. So we're doing pretty good. We're continuing to improve, and it's a really great place for swimmers to actually come and learn about the sport of swimming, and actually, develop a love for the sport, and just get some exercise as well. That's always important nowadays.
Yeah, well, and you have a definite love for aquatics. You and your sister Lauren, we have to shout out to your sister Lauren too, who's also has a love for aquatics. So thank you, and thank you for sharing that with all of us so that we can enjoy it here in the community.
Thank you. It was actually, nice to little talk about. So I hope people actually got a decent amount of information out of this, and I look forward to seeing you all on the pool deck this summer.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Vernon Hills Update. If you have comments or suggestions, please contact Mike Stordo at 847-918-3560 or email mikes@vhills.org. Thank you for tuning in to the Vernon Hills Update.